Hey everybody, I'm Kevin and this is episode 2 of my Hot Tenting on a Budget series where I'm covering my personal journey from A to Z in getting into hot tenting on a budget, because I am on one like many of us. And I'm gonna cover everything right from the products and everything like that, like receiving them and then testing them out, opening them up, making all the mistakes I'm gonna make, and then right to the point where I'm out in the field actually doing some camping with the hot tent. So today's episode is about the hot stove, and that's exciting. So I'm gonna talk about the brand of this. We're gonna open it up, kind of set it up, have a look at it, and then I'm gonna make my way outside to burn it off and everything. Hopefully I can do that today. It's about minus 25 degrees Celsius out here.
Minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit.
I wanted to do this series because I thought some of you might find it interesting to see the experience of trying to get a hot tent set up. And if you're not new to this in your experience, by all means, please leave me a comment down below. I'm not experienced at this. I'd love to learn anything I'm doing wrong, things I could do better, and other people would probably appreciate any tips as well if they're reading the comments. One thing when it comes to wood stoves is safety first, right? This can be dangerous, and honestly, I didn't buy the cheapest thing on Amazon for the stove. I did some research on it, because if you buy the cheapest stove and it craps out on you and your tent melts and you're in there, I don't know if you can start on fire, but it can just be dangerous, right? So safety first for sure. And so this one was probably, it's not the cheapest one, but it wasn't the most expensive by far either. So the brand I got is Danchel, and it's their stainless steel one. It's about 6 pounds, I believe. Instructions. So it comes in a nice case, that's really good. Oh, and this is the stove pipe. If you've seen them, they're the one-piece ones that you have to roll out and then you roll up. And they're supposed to be really hard to set up, and honestly, I'll be doing that in this video later. I'm a little bit scared of that. It comes with your spark arrestor. If you can see here, there's these little rings on here, and so those are for guy lines. So when your stove is so high up and it gets windy and everything, you can have this on there and you can have ropes kind of holding it steady, because you don't want this to blow into your tent. And it also has a damper on here as well, if you can see that there. The reason I got the one piece is just because it's light, so we will be able to take it if we want to just be backpacking without a sled behind us and a bunch of equipment. What I'm really happy about is that they included the gloves, because these stoves here are just such thin metal and there are edges on them, so you can cut yourself on this here really easy. So I'm really happy that there's some gloves. Last thing you want to do is get any kind of cut, especially a deep one, out in the field when you're actually camping, and you know, there's tetanus and all those other things to worry about as well. And you get a nice case with this. You see how light this is? 6.5 pounds. Pretty good. So that's the reason why we got it, and it's so small too. Comes packaged pretty good. So this will be the top piece here I'm going to put down. We're just going to fold that out. Can you see the nice glass here? Comes with a nice glass one. So I wanted that obviously for some ambience. And then you can also check your fire and see how it's doing without having to open the stove, risking smoking out your tent. And then it just clips on the side here as well. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's a little ridge in here. So maybe that's just to reinforce it so it doesn't warp as much. I'm not sure. There we go. And that's the stove. Pretty good, pretty light. You know, not that big, but you can still put a decent log in there, right? So I really like that a lot. Then the damper here just goes on like that. And once it's extended long, this will sit right on here. And then you can adjust the damper for airflow. And there's also airflow here as well. Cheaping out on a stove too much might not be good. There was another stove. One guy took his daughter out camping in it, and it warped so much that the door popped open. So the door popped open while they were sleeping, and luckily there was no damage, like nothing, everything was okay. But I mean, that could kill you essentially. You could not wake up carbon monoxide poisoning. That's another thing too. With this, I will have a carbon monoxide detector when I'm using it in the tent, especially if I'm sleeping in the tent. It will be there because safety first. The thing about the Amazon comments, you see a lot of people, and even on YouTube, you see a lot of people, they're new to the stove, they're maybe even new to hot tenting, and they're giving these rave reviews. Oh, I just got it. I'm just burning it off for the first time. It's an awesome stove, right? So what you got to be careful of is those people, those reviews. I started looking for the comments of people who had it for a while, and then they said, oh, it's been breaking down this way or that way. And I found a few different brands like that where they had them for a while, and they just were like, after 5 uses, they were crapping out. And you don't want to spend this kind of money and crap out. So I'll leave an Amazon link down below if you want to have a look at it. It had some good reviews of people who have had it for a while. That's why I went with the Danchel stainless steel one. So another cool feature I forgot to mention on this actually is that you can actually take this off and just have a fire in here. So you can bring this somewhere, open it up, put some wood in there and have an open fire, put a grate over top, cook stuff on it, no problem. And another thing about cooking too is when the lid is on and you're in your tent, you can put your pan or pot or whatever right on here and cook on it. So we're gonna go ahead outside and try and burn this off right away. And it's got to burn for a couple hours. So I'm just gonna show you a little bit of that and then we'll talk about it. Before I do that though, I will roll this up and I will film it, and I don't know how that's gonna go. We'll see. I'm a little nervous about rolling this up for the first time. 1, because I don't want to break it, and 2, because I just hear it's a real pain in the rear end. Okay, so here's the pipe. On a couple of videos I've watched, they've said to kind of roll it in reverse. So it's rolled this way. I'm gonna try and attempt to roll it the other way. So the reason I did that is to counteract the form that it was already in, so that when I lay it out, it's gonna kind of hopefully lay out straight. And I'm just gonna press it a little bit just to kind of help it take this shape a little bit. I saw a couple videos on this, and the best one I saw was a guy named the Vegan Outdoorsman. That was the channel, and he had a really good explanation of it. I'll leave a link down in the description for that. Not as exciting as I thought it was going to be. So instead of trying to roll it all this way, we're going to roll it on an angle, and I'll show you about it. You've probably seen this if you've been doing some research about it. Now, first time here, so we'll see how this one goes. A little bit slippery with these gloves on. What you want to do is you want to put this on, this ring on here. Oh, I actually need to put all of the rings on here. I'm glad I just remembered that. Maybe I already messed this up. Okay, try number 2. Okay. So I need to put all of these rings on here at first, and you'll see why, so I can slide them up. So we'll try that again. There we go, they're on. Now we're just going to continue to roll. We're going to keep one over here. And see how that holds that on there now?
back a little more. Oh, I'm almost straight. I've gone off. I hope I didn't go too much on an angle. I'm not sure. Hopefully not. So then, what I understand that you do is you start rolling it back like a poster. It's getting longer. Let's see, it seems to have stopped unrolling now. Okay, there we go. These guys make it look so easy when they go out there, but remember they've used their equipment a lot. They know it well. So that's a real thing to consider. Okay, got some more going here. Seems to be going pretty good actually. Okay, now you can see that it's coming to straight now. Can you see that? And I just did it.
Yes. So this is, I forget what it is, 7 feet 2 inches or something like that. Pretty tall though, you can see. And yeah, I can't believe how good it went. I'll tell you one thing though. I would not want to roll this up if I were out in the cold weather, especially minus 25 like we are right now. No thanks. I would much rather do this initial roll and burn. The burn I don't care about, but the roll, I would not want to do that outside in the wintertime on uneven terrain and everything like that. Be much better just to do it in a room initially. It'll take form after it gets burnt, and then it'll be easier to roll, but not for that first one. That went so much better than I thought it was going to. Whew. So while I was filming rolling up the stovepipe, I got another package delivered, and this is an accessory for this that I got, and based on some comments and stuff that I found. So one thing about these hot stoves, whether they're titanium or not, they are going to warp from the heat that just happens. That's what I keep hearing, and it totally makes sense. It's pretty thin metal and everything. So one of the problems was that inside, some of them found that when they had the wood here, that it kind of bowed underneath and everything like that, and then could possibly cause some separation there and let some smoke in. So what I got here, I'll show you. Let me open this up real quick. Always exciting getting packages. So I got these grates to put on the bottom because I read that a couple of people did that. And then what it did two things. Stopped it from bowing because the heat wasn't directly on the metal. And then two, let airflow underneath your wood. And you can see that these don't take up too much space. So I'm hoping that these both fit in here good, like this. Yeah, so they fit in great, and I think that's really going to be a good addition. That's another thing too about buying from Amazon or seeing Amazon reviews and checking out the YouTube reviews and stuff, is that you can get good ideas like this and know about some of the problems ahead of time. One thing about the stove is you got to cut your wood shorter. I've got some wood that's 14 inches. It's 14.5 inches in that stove, but I'd rather have it 12 inches or so it's easy to put in. I don't want to be struggling when I'm putting in wood. So I'm not actually sure if this is supposed to go on the inside of this, if this goes on the inside of this, or on the outside. Okay, I got it on the inside, except I don't have the clip on. Does this clip fit over top? Nope. Got to do that all again. on there, and the flue is working nicely. I scrounged up some carabiners from my packing stuff, so just to make it easier to fit onto here. My hands are freezing. All right, it's up and ready for the first burn. This is exciting. I've got these cotton balls that were in petroleum jelly here, and that's a really good fire starter. So everything's still going good. We're about an hour in. The fire is doing really good. You can see like a little bit through there, so it's not totally airtight. Same with on the side. But if you have good airflow, you don't have to worry about anything. Open up the door. Oh, little smoke through there. I have the flue partly shut. There, I think I just opened it all the way. No. So you can see when I shut it, lots of smoke, and then when I open it, you can see the difference, right? So you can see now she's getting red hot. So you can see some flamage, some color up there. I don't know if that's normal, but I feel like that's not. And then we are pretty red hot here going up part of the pipe. And so I'm just gonna close the flue a little bit. One thing I noticed is this flue seems to stick a little bit. So I am gonna close this a bit. It was definitely hot. I don't know if you could see on my mustache, but I singed it when I was blowing some air in there. So it's morning now, and it was cold last night. I basically let the fire die out, and then it took about a half an hour for it to cool down before I could use it. I did throw a little bit of snow in there just to get any existing embers that were left still. I just want to have a closer look to see the kind of shape it's in after the first burn. And so here you can see that it definitely changed color all the way around, on the top as well, in the back. So the door glass is a little bit stained here with soot or whatever, but from what I understand, this often just burns off and then you get a clear view in. So everything inside the stove looks pretty good. These grates worked out decently too. You can see they've changed color as well. I just know that it definitely burned good and hot. And then we'll just have a look to see how it folds down after the burn. And so that's it. Looks pretty good. Look at how tiny that is, right? Even with the lid. So tiny. Awesome. So let's have a closer look at the pipe. So down here you can see there's lots of coloration. That's the bottom that was connected to the stove itself. And then as you go up, it changes back to silver. So that's the top there. Not much to report, just a little bit of change in color. Obviously there was discoloration in the flue. Everything seems to be working good. I noticed that when you go back this way, it does get caught on something, but I kind of like that because then it told me it was closed for sure. But you can see that this ring kind of goes with the flue as well, but everything looks pretty good in there. And so that's the stove. I felt like it went really good as a beginner. The learning curve wasn't crazy. I mean, I do have some experience with some wood stoves and everything, so that's not totally new to me. But the setup and the burn off and everything like that, ease of use is awesome. The thing I was most scared of was rolling this pipe, but it actually went really good. I didn't get the cheapest thing for the stove because I didn't feel that the ones that were like in the $100 to $200 range were safe, actually. I personally didn't trust it. They may be safe, so I felt comfortable with this one. It's nice and compact and light as well. It's only 6.6 pounds, so I can take it other places as well. So all those factors made me choose the Danchel stainless steel one. I'll put a link down in the description. So that's it. Stay tuned for the next video because I'm going to be putting the hot tent and stove together in use. That's it. Hope to see you in the next video. Like, subscribe. Remember the most important thing, folks. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one.